I had a dream that I compared a Tungsten and an RHO, and I'm not joking. I had a dream. So I went through my videos. I said, did I ever do a comparison between these two trucks? And lo and behold, I didn't. So today we're gonna change that. Now, I borrowed these trucks from Ken Garff, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram here in West Valley, Utah. If you are in the market, be sure to ask for Josh. His number's right here. And they have a ton of selection of trucks, which means typically you get a better deal when there's more selection. Let's go ahead and check out the window stickers, because that's kind of why this video is so important. This 2026 RHO has a base price of $72,495. However, if we're being honest, that is a base RHO. So we have to look at this RHO level 1 equipment group, add that 10 grand, you're basically at 82,495. And then if you want the dual pane roof, which comes standard on that Tungsten, add that to the price, and now you're starting to get up to that point where this is apples to apples. But with all the other options on this truck, it's $92,630. You guys see the fuel economy number? 16 on the highway, 14 in the city. This Tungsten trim starts at $87,800. Now, as far as the options go, this does have the multifunction tailgate and a few other things here. And you guys see right there, total price is $92,555. And then you guys see the fuel economy numbers here. You do get better with the Tungsten. When it comes down to the base price, the RHO wins hands down, and I think most people would probably go that route. However, based off the way these trucks are optioned, the RHO is $75 more. But if you took off the B-lock wheels and a few other things like the red interior, then yeah, the Tungsten is going to be the more expensive truck. Now, here's what I'm going to do really quickly. I'm going to raise the Ram Tungsten up in its off-road 2 setting. Now, you can't drive down the road that way, but I want you guys to get an idea of just how tall the RHO is, even when a truck has air suspension. Hold on one second. Even in off-road level 2, you guys can see that RHO is probably still another 2 inches taller. And it doesn't just stop there, it's also wider because of these wider fenders and bedside out back, which is why this truck has clearance lights right there. But the Tungsten is actually really unique because on the front end it has its own front bumper. So what they did was they got a whole new front design. This is what you'll see on the Laramie and Limited and Longhorn trim levels, and they just made this more luxurious. You guys can even see down below the fog lights have a cool design to them as well. You also have those parking sensors. The fender flare goes all the way down, so it has a really nice style, and I would be perfectly happy with this truck. Let me go ahead and turn it off real quick and let's have a discussion really quickly. Back in the 2000s, luxury pickups started to become more and more popular, and it really caught steam in the 2010s. We start seeing trim levels like Limited for the Ram and even for the Ford. Also, the Denali trim was introduced from GM, High Country also from GM. And now we've kind of seen another shift. You start to now see people want a very, very off-road rugged look like this, or like this Rebel, but they really, really, really want it to have that luxury interior. And that is why I think this is such a great comparison. Now, you guys do know the RHO has a ridiculous suspension. It's 4 going fast off-road, jumping, all that good stuff. It also has better ground clearance than the other trucks, which is better for the wifey driving your truck for sure, and has better protection down below. The Tungsten in its highest setting is not going to have the ground clearance or the protection that you just saw on the RHO. And even when it comes down to the tires, check this out. This thing is going to have a more beefier tire for going off-road. However, off-road tires have come a long way. They now give you less road noise, they're more compliant, and I think they give you a better ride in some cases because you have more sidewall. These are basically 325 65 18s, which is 34.6 inches in height, 12.8 inches in width, compared to the 22s found on this Tungsten. Do you remember the days where having over 20-inch wheels was really cool? It's still cool today, and some manufacturers are running 24s from the factory, but this tire is a 285 45 22, which is basically 32.1 inches in height, 11.2 inches in width. And I will admit, today this really isn't my style, but this is a really nice wheel. As far as the ride goes, because of the air suspension, and I will say these tires ride really well. My wife had a Wagoneer with these exact tires, I believe. I think they were the Pirellis, but regardless, this truck's gonna have a good ride. I've driven them in the past, and overall, when it comes down to styling, I think they both have really nice styling. This just has a more hardcore look, and that's what a lot of people are looking for. On the front ends, front parking sensors, they both have 360 camera, although you're gonna have a lot more things come standard on this truck. Now, down the side, you do have the power deployable running boards on this Tungsten. However, high clearance steps or rock rails we're gonna get on this, not available with power deployable running boards. Out back, you're gonna have the standard size bed only for this Ram RHO. They're both gonna have 33-gallon fuel tank standard, and this truck's gonna have the coils front and rear. Also, it does have active suspension on the RHO 2. Now this one does have the step out back right here. Full LED taillights, power tailgate, and remember, some of these things are going to be options. As far as this Tungsten goes, it does too have a step here, and this tailgate is not going to be powered because of the upgrade here. So what's nice about this tailgate is it pretty much opens like this, and I think this is nice to have if you do tow a trailer, because that way you can still get in here and pull things out if you need to without unhooking your trailer. Spray and bed liners there, and you guys saw on the side here it does have the Ram boxes too, so you get that extra storage, and this does come in handy on a truck like this too. Both trucks do have this option if you don't get that multifunction tailgate. Out back, you guys see more blackout on the RHO, a little bit more chrome on the Tungsten, black exhaust tips versus the chrome exhaust tips. Now this surprised me. RHO gives you recovery hooks here built onto the receiver hitch, class 4 on both sides. You also have all these nice camera inputs, 7 4-pin LED lights here for your license plate, and you have a full-size matching spare tire, 392 with a locker. You guys see everything's pretty much the exact same for the plugs, class 4 hitch, LED license plate lights. But I was shocked to see this. Matching wheel and tire, 392 rear. Now this truck has an open diff. If you want to get an electronic locker, you can on the Tungsten. However, you got to pay another $1,345. That sucks. Let's go ahead and pop the hood. When it comes down to the powertrains, are there any differences in these two trucks? The answer is yes and no. Yes, meaning they have the same engines, 3-liter inline-6 twin turbo. However, this RHO has a cold air intake with a functional hood scoop compared to the Tungsten here. Both engines put out 540 horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque, despite this RHO having this cold air intake upgrade. They don't say that this gives it any gains, so it's probably really there for aesthetics. Although I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a little bit better horsepower out of this thing just because of how it's designed. And I'm sure they do something extra because you're pulling in more air, which means you're gonna have to get better fuel economy and better performance. Now, what's hooked up to this 3-liter Hurricane engine is the 8-speed, 8 HP, 75 transmission. That thing is reliable, and if you didn't know this, anytime you get the high output engine, they do upgrade the rear axle on these trucks. So these do have the overbuilt rear axles. I'm not sure who the maker of it is, but let's go ahead and check out the interior, because that right there is what really defines what truck to get. This is hard. It really is, because I like both of these interiors. This has a more sportier appearance, 17 speaker Harman Kardon, 12-way seats. And you guys see they do a great job overall. Now you don't get any support up front, but you do have a pretty long seat cushion, decent bolstering, tilt headrest, and the overall fit and finish is just top notch. Look at the steering wheel. You got perforated leather, red stitching, more carbon fiber right there. And you have to go with the red accents. The accents kill it on this truck. I love it. Now let's go ahead and check out that Tungsten. Speechless, aren't you? I would be too if I saw this for the first time. I did a video on this and they actually already updated the interior for this truck. But not only does it have a 23 speaker sound system, it also has 24-way seats, including the headrests. Those headrests are power. Now I'm going to turn the truck on for a second, so you might hear an annoying beeping sound for a little bit. But you see that? You have power headrests. That is insane. You also can adjust the headrest like this, and you have a thigh support on the seat. So this is already a big, comfortable seat, but you still have more adjustability for those longer leg people for more support and comfort. You also have great bolstering on the side, perforated leather. Okay, we can turn this off now. You guys see the steering wheel? You have like this gold or even bronze stitching. Power pedals. The only downside, this does not have a power steering column. You can't get that on either side. This truck does have the autonomous driving too, and I'm not sure if you guys noticed, the RHO had that as well. Now they do wrap the grab handles up front in leather on both trucks. Now I do like the liner in this one. This is just going to be just fabric material. That Tungsten does have suede. They both have the same screens, heads-up display. This does have the better paddle shifters and they work really well. So they did probably tune this transmission to be a little bit more sportier compared to that one over there. 14.5-inch display, dual chargers, but this might be a deal breaker for some guys. Some people just do not like the dial. And yeah, I think it just depends on who you are. I don't care either way. I've gotten used to having a dial because I had a 1500 in the past. Heads-up display, and as I said, this truck does have the suede home link. Oh, that's going to pretty much be the same on both sides of the house. This also has the camera for this, and you can see some of the speakers on the top here. Twin panel roof for both trucks. The fit and finish though in this truck, look at this trimming here. I mean, the push button start, everything looks so top notch. It's like one of my favorite trucks. Now I gotta show you in the comment section, which center console do you like better? This one does show the VIN number, says Tungsten. That thing looks like it's a $1,000 badge. And then it has that really cool stitch pattern versus, I don't know, this is nice, but that Tungsten is nicer. But this truck does have nice trimming, and overall, because it has the full-time four-wheel drive versus the two-wheel drive or part-time four-wheel drive on the Tungsten, I like this truck better for that too. You have auxiliary switches here, and I think I like this center console better, just because I like the overall look of it too. But if you didn't notice, this does slide. So I think some people would personally like this better. You have this storage here, and you have that deeper storage right there. And then these covers pop open. And as I said, this does slide. 115 volt power, and that's gonna be the same for both. Now they're both gonna have this screen on that side, but you have to check out the dash for each truck here. Yeah, this is such a nice truck too. You guys see that screen over there? Has an RHO badge right there. And then just one more look at the center console. That way you guys can see. This does have the deeper storage, and that's where that 115 volt power plug is there. Now, out back, this does have the MOLLE strips, and I love the design of the rear. Heated, ventilated seats, 115 volt power plug right there, flat floor surface. These seats do recline, and I love showing this. It has a nice look and feel to it. Storage here. Let's go ahead and check out what that Tungsten has. I don't know, guys. This is tough. This is really tough. I mean, this truck is so luxurious. Love the design of all this too. Has a really upscale look to it. They actually wrapped the rear handles in leather, but not on this side here. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the Payload, because that might be the biggest deciding factor for some people. Starting with the RHO, gross axle weight rating out front, it's going to be 4,300 pounds. The rear is 4,200 pounds. Gross vehicle weight rating is 7,800 pounds. 18x9 wide wheels. All in Payload is 1,287 pounds. Tire pressure is 38 psi all the way around, which is going to contribute to that really nice ride. Let's check out what that Tungsten has. Gross axle weight rating is going to be 3,900 pounds. The rear is 4,100 pounds. Gross vehicle weight rating is 7,100 pounds. 22x9 wide wheels. All in Payload is 1,026 pounds. And you guys see the tire pressure is 36 psi all the way around. Now, if this truck had 7,800 pounds for the gross vehicle weight rating, this would have 1,726 pounds of payload. But why they don't do that, we may never know. But yeah, this truck does have the sport pedals and the nice premium floor mats too. I hope you guys liked the video. You guys know what I like. My truck, my favorite of them all, is an off-road truck with a luxurious interior. And that's pretty much why I would pick the RHO. But I will admit to you guys, if I got a better deal on a Tungsten, I would go with the Tungsten, because then I could lift it. Because you can lift these trucks, I now believe, with the air suspension, and then I could just run 35s on this and be perfectly happy with this truck. I like the interior so much better for the Tungsten for sure. Those seats are so comfortable, and if you like to go on long rides, which I would take this on a cross-country trip any day of the week, I would definitely choose this truck. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Which one would you choose? If the window sticker is the same, which one are you picking later?